Lock in 2026. Have you ever stood at the edge of a new year, felt the weight of everything you could have done, everything you should have done, and realized that time is moving whether you are ready or not? Imagine for a moment you're holding a key. That key opens the door to the future, to the year 2026. But here's the question: when that door opens, will you be ready to walk through it? Or will you still be standing where you are right now, wondering what could have been? Let me tell you a story. Years ago, there was a young man who dreamed of building a business. He was passionate, intelligent, and had a dozen good ideas. But every time an opportunity came, he hesitated. "I'll start next year," he said. "Things will be better then." And next year came, and then the next. Soon 5 years passed, and when he finally decided to act, the moment was gone. The world had moved on. Someone else had taken the opportunity. The lesson is simple: time waits for no one. And the great secret of success, of happiness, of fulfillment is deciding, right now, who you will be, what you will do, and where you will go. That's what I mean by lock in 2026. It's not just about making resolutions, not just about planning. It's about committing, truly committing, to a path, to a future, and to the best version of yourself. And so today I want to take you on a journey through 9 truths that will help you lock in your goals, your habits, and your destiny for 2026. Think of them as chapters in your own story, each one building on the last, leading you to a life you can be proud of. The power of decision. There comes a point in every person's life when they are faced with a moment of truth. A point where they must decide who they are and where they are going. This moment is more powerful than any external event, because it is the point at which you stop being a passenger and take the wheel of your own life. Decision is the fulcrum on which your future pivots. If you look back on your own lives, you'll see that the moments that shaped you were not always the moments when things happened to you, but the moments when you made a choice. A choice to walk away from something that no longer served you, a choice to take a risk, a choice to commit yourself to something greater. Think for a moment of a ship at sea. Without a captain setting a destination, the ship would wander aimlessly, subject to the pull of currents and the whims of the wind. It might travel a great distance, but it would never arrive where it was meant to go. Life is much the same. Most people are like ships without a destination. They wake up, go through the motions, respond to events as they come, and hope for the best. But hope is not a strategy, decision is. When you decide, you create direction. And with direction comes movement. With movement comes momentum, and with momentum comes transformation. A decision is more than a passing thought or a wish. It is a firm, deliberate choice. The word decide comes from the Latin root that means to cut off. When you decide, you cut off all other possibilities and commit to one path. That is why so few people ever truly decide. It feels risky to eliminate other options. It feels safer to keep your options open. But this is an illusion. By not deciding, by keeping every door open, you never fully step through any door. You live in the waiting room of life, always preparing, always hesitating, but never arriving. Think of the people who inspire you most. They are not necessarily the most talented, the most educated, or the luckiest. They are the ones who decided. They said, "This is what I will do, and I will persist until it is done." Once the decision was made, the world seemed to align with them. Opportunities appeared. Resources were found. People showed up to help, not because life was suddenly easier, but because they were no longer wandering. They were focused, moving with purpose. And that kind of commitment is magnetic. There is an incredible mental and emotional power that comes from decision. It removes the mental chatter that drains so much of our energy. Indecision is exhausting. It keeps you in a constant state of tension, wondering what to do, second-guessing yourself, trying to balance competing possibilities. But the moment you decide, that tension is released. Your mind becomes clear. You stop asking, "Should I?" and start asking, "How will I?" That shift alone changes everything. Decisions need not always be grand. Sometimes the most powerful decisions are small. A decision to start walking for 20 minutes a day. A decision to save a little money each week. A decision to make one phone call you've been avoiding. These small decisions compound over time, just as a single drop of water eventually carves a canyon. Your daily choices carve the path of your destiny. But there is a price to decision: responsibility. When you decide, you can no longer blame circumstances, luck, or other people. You take full ownership of where you are going. This can feel frightening at first, but it is ultimately liberating. Because if you are responsible, you are also capable. You are no longer waiting for permission, for the perfect timing, or for someone to rescue you. You become the author of your own story. So, as you stand on the edge of 2026, ask yourself, what decisions must you make right now? What do you need to cut off, to let go of, to finally move forward? Will you decide to pursue the dream you've been carrying for years? Will you decide to change the habit that has been holding you back? Will you decide to become the person you've always known you could be? These are not easy questions, but they are essential. Remember this: indecision is a decision to stay where you are. If you do not choose a direction, the world will choose it for you, and you may not like where you end up. But if you choose with intention, if you decide with conviction, then no matter the obstacles, you will be moving toward the life you were meant to live. Decision is the starting point. It is the moment when you stop drifting and start steering. It is the key that unlocks every door to your future. Once you make a true decision, everything else begins to fall into place. And when you look back on 2026, you will see that the moment you decided was the moment your life began to change. The discipline of daily action. Decision sets the direction, but it is daily action that moves you toward the destinations. One of the most misunderstood truths about success is that it rarely comes from one grand gesture, one defining moment, one lucky break. It comes from a series of small, consistent actions taken day after day, often without applause, often without immediate reward. The discipline of daily action is what separates those who wish from those who achieve. Think of a farmer planting seeds. He does not plant one day and harvest the next. He prepares the soil, he plants carefully, he waters, he waits, and he tends to the field every single day. There are days when it seems like nothing is happening, when the soil looks no different than it did before. But beneath the surface, growth is taking place, roots are forming, life is stirring. And in time, if he stays faithful to the work, the field begins to bloom. Life works the same way. The actions you take each day may not look significant at first, but they are planting the seeds of your future harvest. The challenge is that daily action is not glamorous. It is not exciting, it asks for patience. It demands consistency. And in a world that celebrates quick results and overnight success, it can feel slow. But the truth is that nothing worthwhile is built overnight. You cannot go to the gym once and expect to be fit. You cannot read one book and expect to be wise. You cannot save money for a week and expect to be wealthy. Everything of value requires daily tending. Consider the story of a young man who wanted to become a writer. He had great ideas and big dreams, but every time he sat down to write, he told himself he didn't have enough time, or that inspiration hadn't struck. Years passed, and he had still not written his book. One day a mentor told him, "Write just one page every day, just one." The young man agreed. At first it felt like almost nothing, but day after day he wrote his page. After a month he had 30 pages. After a year he had a book, and before long he had built a habit that would serve him for a lifetime. That is the secret. Small actions, repeated daily, add up to massive results. Each step may feel insignificant on its own, but when compounded over time, it becomes unstoppable. Imagine taking a single penny and doubling it every day for 31 days. By the end of that period, you would not have a few dollars. You would have over $10 million. That is the power of compounding. Your daily actions work the same way. They may seem small, but they accumulate until one day you experience what others call sudden success. The discipline of daily action is not about intensity, but about consistency. Anyone can work hard for a day. What matters is whether you can keep showing up when no one is watching, when the results are not yet visible, when it feels easier to skip a day. Discipline means doing what you said you would do, long after the feeling in which you said it has passed. It means building trust with yourself, proving that you can rely on your own word. There will be days when you don't feel like it, days when you are tired, distracted, or discouraged. Those are the days that matter most, because every time you follow through despite the temptation to quit, you are strengthening the muscle of discipline. You are shaping your identity. You are becoming the kind of person who does not wait for inspiration, who does not depend on motivation, but who acts because it is who you are. And here is a truth worth remembering: the world belongs to those who keep going. Most people start strong but stop when it gets hard. They let the gap between their decision and their daily action grow until the decision fades away. But the few who stay committed, who take small steps every day, eventually find themselves miles ahead of everyone else. So as you prepare to lock in 2026, commit to the discipline of daily action. Ask yourself, what is one small thing I can do today that moves me closer to my goal? Then do it again tomorrow, and the next day. Build a streak that you refuse to break. Because every day you take action, you are laying another brick in the wall of your future. And one day, not too far from now, you will look back and realize that what once seemed impossible has become your reality. Not because of one dramatic leap, but because you showed up every day and did the work. That is the quiet power of daily action. And it is how you will turn 2026 into the year you built something that lasted. The mindset of growth: if decision is the spark and daily action is the fuel, then growth is the engine that keeps you moving forward. To lock in 2026, you must not only act but also evolve. You must become more than you were yesterday. Wiser, stronger, more capable, more aware. Life rewards growth, the challenges you face, the opportunities you seek, and the dreams you chase will always demand a higher version of yourself than the one you are today. The question is, will you rise to meet them? Growth begins with the recognition that you are not yet all you could be. That is not an admission of failure. It is a declaration of possibilities. The person you are right now is a result of every choice, every habit, every belief you have held up until this moment. If you want to change your future, you must change your mind. Because everything begins there. Your mind is the soil of your life. Whatever you plant in it, ideas, fears, hopes, limitations, will grow and eventually bear fruit. If you plant doubt, you will reap hesitation. If you plant courage, you will reap opportunity. This is why the mindset of growth is so powerful. It sees every moment as a chance to learn, every setback as a lesson, every challenge as a teacher. Instead of asking, why me? It asks, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? Life will test you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Each difficulty is an invitation to expand your capacity, to deepen your understanding, to sharpen your skills. If you resist growth, you remain stuck at the same level, facing the same problems over and over again. But if you embrace growth, each problem becomes a stepping stone to the next stage of your life. Think of a tree. A tree never stops reaching higher. Its roots dig deeper, its branches spread wider. Its trunk grows stronger year after year, and yet, if it stops growing, it begins to die. Human beings are the same. We are designed to grow. When we stop learning, stop improving, stop stretching ourselves, something within us begins to wither. The mind becomes stagnant, the spirit restless. Growth keeps you alive, engaged, and moving toward your potential. One of the greatest obstacles to growth is comfort. Comfort whispers that you are fine where you are, that change is too hard, that you can try later. But comfort is a slow trap. It lulls you into staying the same, even when the same is no longer serving you. The mindset of growth is willing to step out of comfort, to take on new challenges, to risk embarrassment, to try and fail and try again. It knows that every new skill feels awkward at first, every new journey feels uncertain, but that is the price of becoming more. Another key to growth is curiosity. Children are natural learners because they are endlessly curious. They ask questions, they explore, they experiment. Somewhere along the way, many adults lose that curiosity and start assuming they already know enough. But the most successful people never stop being students. They read, they listen, they seek mentors. They surround themselves with people who challenge them to think differently. Curiosity keeps the mind fresh and open, ready to see possibilities that others miss. Growth also requires humility. The willingness to admit you don't have all the answers, the courage to ask for help, the openness to be wrong. It is not about being perfect. It is about being teachable. Every mistake contains wisdom, every failure a lesson that can move you closer to success if you are willing to see it. And perhaps most importantly, growth is not just about acquiring skills or knowledge. It is about becoming someone new. It is about developing character, patience, resilience, discipline, empathy. These qualities are forged in the moments when you are stretched, when life demands more of you than you think you can give. Each time you rise to the occasion, you expand who you are. So as you lock in 2026, commit to the mindset of growth. Decide that every day, no matter how small, you will learn something, improve something, become something more. Read that book. Ask that question, face that challenge. Seek out the discomfort that signals you are growing. Because the more you grow, the more capable you become of achieving everything you have set out to do. And one day you will look back and realize that the real reward was not just reaching your goals, but becoming the kind of person who could. That is the power of growth. It transforms not only your future but you. And when you change, everything around you begins to change as well. The courage to face fear. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in human life. It can protect us when there is real danger, but more often it holds us back from living fully. The moment you decide to pursue something meaningful, fear will appear, as if it has been waiting all along. It will whisper in your ear, asking you to wait, to play it safe, to stay where it's familiar. And yet, every meaningful change you want to make in 2026 will require you to face fear and move through it. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to act despite it. Consider how fear operates. It often disguises itself as logic, as caution, as practicality. It tells you, this is not the right time, or you are not ready yet, or what if you fail? Fear shows you the worst possible picture of the future and convinces you it is inevitable. But fear is a liar. The images it paints are not reality. They are possibilities, and usually the darkest, most exaggerated ones. Most of the things we fear never happen, and the ones that do are rarely as devastating as we imagined. Think back to a time when you were afraid to do something, maybe to speak in front of a group, to have a difficult conversation, to take a leap into the unknown. Remember how the fear felt before you acted, the racing heart, the tight chest, the restless thoughts. And then remember how it felt afterward. Almost always the fear was worse than the reality. You may have stumbled, you may have made mistakes, but you survived and you grew stronger because of it. Fear thrives in inaction. The longer you wait, the bigger it grows. It feeds on hesitation, on overthinking, on avoidance. But the moment you take a step forward, fear begins to shrink. It cannot survive in motion. That is why courage feels so powerful, because it breaks fear's grip. You prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you believed. Courage is built like a muscle. The first time you face a fear, it feels overwhelming. The second time, it feels a little easier. Each time after that, your confidence grows until one day what once terrified you feels almost natural. This is why it is so important to practice courage daily in small ways. Speak up when you would normally stay silent. Try something new even if you are unsure of the outcome. Make the phone call you have been avoiding. Each act of courage, no matter how small, builds your strength for the bigger moments ahead. The truth is, everything you want, the growth, the success, the fulfillment, lies on the other side of fear. Fear is like a gatekeeper standing between where you are and where you want to be. Most people turn back at that gate, convincing themselves that it is safer to stay where they are. But those who summon the courage to walk through discover that fear was guarding the very thing they were searching for. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who dreamed of starting his own business. Every day on his way to work, he passed by a small shop space for rent. Each time he thought, "Oh, one day I will take that step." But each time fear stopped him. What if he failed? What if he lost money? What if people laughed at him? One day, he discovered someone else had rented the shop and started a thriving business. That was when he realized that fear had not just protected him, it had cost him the life he wanted. Fear will cost you opportunities if you let it. It will keep you stuck in jobs you dislike, relationships that drain you, habits that limit you. But the moment you face it, you take back your freedom. You realize that fear is just a signal, a sign that you are stepping into something important, something that matters. As you lock in 2026, make courage a part of your identity. Decide that fear will not be your master. Let it be your compass instead. If something scares you, giving that speech, starting that project, having that honest conversation, see it as a sign that this is where your growth lies. Step toward it, not away from it. And when you look back at the end of the year, you will see that the moments you are most proud of were not the moments you felt comfortable, but the ones where you felt afraid and acted anyway. Fear will always be there. Courage just has to be a little stronger, strong enough to take one step forward, and once you do, the rest will follow. The art of resilience, if there is one thing you can count on in life, it is that things will not always go according to plan. You will face obstacles, setbacks, disappointments, and moments that will test your resolve. The question is not whether you will fall. Everyone falls. The question is whether you will get back up. Resilience is the art of rising again, of refusing to let difficulties define you. It is the quiet strength that keeps you moving forward when others stop. Life has a way of teaching us through adversity. It is in those moments of struggle that we learn who we really are. Success rarely teaches us anything, but failure, pain, and hardship, they are our greatest instructors. They strip away illusions, they force us to look inward, they demand that we grow stronger. Resilience is not just about surviving these moments, it is about using them to become wiser, more determined, and more capable than before. Imagine a child learning to walk. He falls hundreds of times, he stumbles, bumps his head, cries. But he does not decide that walking is too hard, that he is not cut out for it, that he will never try again. He gets back up again and again until one day he takes his first steps, and soon after he is running. This is resilience in its purest form, the refusal to quit in the face of difficulty. Somewhere along the way, many of us forget this lesson. We fall once or twice as adults, and we convince ourselves it is a sign to stop trying. But the truth is, every fall is simply part of the process. Resilience begins with accepting that setbacks are not a sign of failure. They are a sign that you are in the game. People who never fail are usually people who never try. The fact that you are struggling means that you are stretching yourself, that you are daring to grow. And the very challenges that threaten to break you are shaping you into the kind of person who can handle what you are asking for. Consider the story of Thomas Edison. It is said that he failed over 10,000 times before inventing the practical light bulb. When asked about those failures, he replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is resilience, the ability to reframe failure as feedback, to see each setback as a step closer to success. Imagine if he had given up after the first 100 tries or the first 1,000. The world might still be in the dark. Resilience also requires perspective. When we are in the middle of a challenge, it feels permanent and overwhelming. But most difficulties are temporary. A problem that seems unbearable today will one day be a story you tell, a lesson you pass on, a chapter in your journey. The pain fades, but the strength you gain from enduring it remains. Another key part of resilience is refusing to be defined by what happens to you. Many people allow one failure, one disappointment, or one rejection to become their identity. They say, "I am a failure," instead of "I failed this time." There is a world of difference between the two. One closes the door on growth, the other leaves it open. Resilient people know that failure is something you experience, not something you are. Resilience does not mean you never feel pain or doubt or exhaustion. It means you feel those things, but you keep going anyway. It means you allow yourself to rest when needed, but you do not quit. It means that no matter how many times you are knocked down, you rise one more time than you fall. As you prepare to lock in 2026, understand that setbacks will come. There will be days when nothing seems to go right, when progress feels slow, when you wonder if you are even moving forward at all. Those are the days that will make you. Because if you keep going on those days, you will have built the kind of strength that cannot be taken from you. At the end of 2026, when you look back on your journey, you will not just remember the victories. You will remember the moments you wanted to quit but didn't. You will remember the nights you stayed up late, the mornings you started again, the times you kept believing when no one else did. And those moments will become the foundation of your confidence. Because if you got through that, you will know you can get through anything. Resilience is what allows you to transform obstacles into opportunities, pain into power, and defeat into determination. It is not the absence of difficulty that makes life meaningful. It is the triumph over it. And when you master the art of resilience, you become unstoppable. It's the value of focus in a world full of noise, distractions, and endless options. Focus is one of the rarest and most powerful abilities you can develop. Most people never achieve what they want in life, not because they lack intelligence, resources, or talent, but because they spread themselves too thin. They try to do too many things at once, chase too many goals, and end up scattered and exhausted. Focus is the art of choosing one thing, locking in on it, and giving it everything you have until it becomes real. When you focus, you give your mind direction. Without focus, energy leaks in every direction, and progress becomes painfully slow. But when you narrow your attention to one clear aim, you ignite a force within yourself that is almost unstoppable. Like sunlight passing through a magnifying glass, your scattered energy becomes concentrated, powerful enough to ignite change, powerful enough to transform an ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Think about a river. When water flows in all directions, it creates puddles, shallow and still. But when that same water is channeled into a single narrow current, it gains force, strong enough to carve canyons and move mountains over time. That is the power of focus. It takes what you already have and gives it direction, so your effort begins to compound. Focus begins with clarity. You must decide what you truly want. It's not what other people expect of you, not what looks good on social media, not what will impress strangers. What you truly deeply desire. The clearer your goal, the easier it becomes to say no to distractions. A person without clarity will chase everything, but a focused person has the courage to choose. Once you know what matters, you must be willing to eliminate what does not. This is one of the hardest parts of focus, saying no. No to good opportunities so you can stay available for great ones. No to activities that waste your time, even if they feel comfortable. No to people who pull you away from your purpose. Every yes you give to something unimportant is a no to your dream. Focus also means staying the course when things get boring. The truth is, success is not always exciting. The path to mastery often requires repeating the same action day after day, long after the excitement has worn off. Most people quit here. They chase something new, something shiny, because they mistake boredom for a sign they are on the wrong path. But those who stay focused through the dull moments are the ones who eventually break through. Consider the story of a man digging for water. He digs one foot here, another foot there, moving from one spot to another, always stopping when progress seems slow. After weeks of effort, he has dozens of shallow holes, but no water. Then imagine another man who picks one spot, digs deep, and refuses to stop until he reaches the water table. He may spend the same amount of energy as the first man, but because he focused, he succeeds. This is how most people live. They start something, quit when it gets hard, start something new, and wonder why they never get results. Focus forces you to dig deep, to keep going until you strike results. In 2026, if you truly want to transform your life, focus will be your greatest ally. Choose one or two things that matter most to you and pour yourself into them. Let go of the temptation to do everything at once. It is better to do one thing with excellence than 10 things with mediocrity. Distractions will always be there. Your phone, social media, other people's opinions, your own doubts. But each time you resist the pull of distraction, you build the muscle of focus. And just like any muscle, the more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Soon, what used to distract you will lose its power over you, and you will be able to lock in for hours, creating work and results that astonish even you. At the end of the year, When you look back, you will be amazed at what consistent focus has built. You will see a trail of completed projects, deep skills, and meaningful progress. And it will all have started with a single decision to choose what mattered, to give it your undivided attention, and to keep showing up no matter how loud the world became. Focus turns intentions into reality, and when you master it, there is very little you cannot achieve.